Welcome to the Career Compass Weekly Series. This month opens a new theme we're calling Career Adaptability. You know the two people. Same reorganization, same surprise announcement, same rug pulled out from under both of them. One spends the next month spinning, anxious, stuck, replaying what used to be true. The other is already asking questions, already talking to people, already moving forward. Same change, completely different outcome. I grew up in a military family which was posted every 2 years or so. Consequently, we were always moving, changing schools, making new friends in new places. Upon graduation, my career followed a similar pattern with new opportunities every couple of years in new towns as my career developed in progressively better positions. Career transitions are disruptive, regardless of whether they are self-initiated or imposed. Over the course of a 35-year career, I transitioned through a wide variety of progressively better positions, ultimately retiring at the top of my career and developing a whole new career as an entrepreneur and college instructor. In spite of my success, I was not immune to abrupt transitions. However, in every case, I saw the change as a new opportunity to a chance to introduce new ideas, learn new skills, update and improve procedures and controls, initiate capital projects, and find new ways to enhance the services I was providing. Many of my colleagues in similar circumstances found their transition much more difficult, and because of that, some were even forced to abandon their career path altogether. That difference isn't luck, and it isn't some personality's trait you either have or don't. It's a skill called change readiness, and it can be built. I have no doubt that my early experience as a military brat helped me build that change readiness skill. I learned early on we cannot control the circumstances that inevitably confront all of us, but we can most certainly control how we choose to respond to them. This month is all about career adaptability, and we're starting with change readiness, what it actually is, and why some people seem to have more of it, and how you can build it, starting with whatever's changing in your world right now. Change readiness is not the absence of discomfort when things shift. Change-ready people feel unsettled too. The difference is what they do with that feeling. They've built habits to make that uncertainty more manageable instead of habits that make it worse. It breaks down into 3 pieces. First, your mindset, how you interpret the change itself. Second, your skills, your practical ability to learn quickly and apply what you know in a new context. And third, your support system, the people and resources you draw on when things are uncertain. Here's the core idea. Change readiness is built the same way any other capability is built, through practice, starting small, well before you're forced into it by circumstances, and through the connections you make and develop along the way. Change shows up in a career whether you invite it or not. An injury or an accident, a reorganization, a new manager, a redundant role that quietly stops existing, an entire industry shifting underneath you as technology changes. You rarely have any control over these changes. And even when the change eventually turns out to be a good thing, it can still feel unsettling when we're in the middle of it. You don't get to opt out of any of that. What you do get to influence is how ready you are when it arrives. And that's the part that most people skip. It's often the biggest factor, in how fast someone lands on their feet. Three traps show up again and again. Waiting for certainty is the first trap. Holding off on any action until the full picture is clear, which in most real change never really fully happens. Waiting is in itself a choice, and it's usually not a good one. The second trap is trying to go it alone, treating the disruption as a private situation, maybe even an embarrassment, or at the very least a problem to quietly solve alone, instead of a moment to lean on the relationships and the resources that already exist around you. The third trap is over-identifying with the old version of things, measuring the new situation against what used to be true, instead of assessing it fresh on its own terms. Each of these has a fix that's more about giving yourself permission than developing technique. Let's look at the things that you can start practicing right now before you're forced into it. Start with gathering information early. The next time something shifts in your world, ask, what do we actually know right now? And what's still unknown? Instead of waiting to be told. Being aware of what's going on around you is key to avoiding being caught off guard. When you have a gut feeling, name that reaction out loud. Feeling unsettled doesn't mean change is a disaster. It usually just means something familiar has shifted. Notice it, name it, and ask what action would actually help or would benefit you right now. And finally, reach out before you feel like you need to. The relationships that help most in a real disruption are the ones that were already warm beforehand. You're constantly making connections, even if just informal ones. Keep them warm now while there's nothing on fire. A simple outreach or comment on social media can keep you in touch without a lot of effort. Change readiness isn't about making change feel comfortable. It's about shrinking the gap between the moment the change arrives and the moment you're able to respond to it well. We look forward to meeting you on Zoom or by email. And we welcome your comments. We hope you'll join us this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time in the Zoom community meeting room at pathfindercampus.ca, where we'll be discussing how to manage change for a change.